As the remnants of the First Order fleet drifted in space, Kylo Ren has assumed control of the powerful Force after the death of Snoke at the hands of Luke Skywalker. Ren was just seconds away from dealing a killing blow to the Jedi when he had his entire fate changed by the actions of the old Jedi. Ren was dead set on exacting revenge but was caught off guard by the strength that Skywalker still possessed. Before their duel could reach a proper end, the Mega-class Star Destroyer was rocked by the Resistance cruiser that had ran them at light speed. Ren was furious to know that not only had Skywalker survived, but he escaped as well. He knew this time Luke wouldn't retreat to a remote location by himself. He was going to rejoin the Resistance, the girl, Rey, and his mother. He ordered his troops to gather for what would be a huge assault on Resistance forces that seek shelter on the planet below. As the First Order prepares to invade what remains of the Resistance fumbles around an old base that once belonged to the Rebellion long before their time. The equipment was old and everything looked as if it could fall apart in an instant. Leia found herself explaining a situation that everyone could have realized on their own. They were outgunned, outnumbered, and outmatched by the coming First Order attack. Just as the speech came to an end, a Resistance soldier shouted at the top of his lungs about an incoming fighter. The massive door of the base slowly began to lower, but the ship barely made it through. Every person in the hangar, including Leia, had their blasters trained on the ship when 3 sets of hands came up in surrender. All the voices were familiar, as Rey, Rose, and Finn popped from his innards. Poe ran towards a pair of Rose and Finn with joy to see they survived, but Rey stood frozen as she locked eyes with Leia. She could tell that the general was hoping to see her brother on this day, but she once again had no idea what the fate of Luke Skywalker was. The moment of uncertainty the two shared was quickly over as everyone realized they had to prepare for what was about to come. A makeshift command center was formed within one of the old control rooms. Whatever capable pilots were left made use of the ski speeders that was somewhat operational, and a large cannon stationed outside the base were prepped for action. For Leia, it felt like Yavin 4 all over again. A massive power was knocking down their door and victory wasn't promised. However, that day Luke Skywalker saved the day, but once again no one knew where he had gone. A voice soon shouted words that no one was anticipating. "They're here!" A glance into the distance saw huge silhouettes march towards him, but the use of binoculars revealed how menacing those silhouettes truly were. AT-M6 walkers made their way towards the base and TIE fighters acted as their escorts. The massive cannons began firing upon the walkers, and that's when the TIE fighters began to serve their purpose. They flew over the battlefield, scorching the ground with laser fire, causing Resistance troops to fall back within the base. Everyone knew that the ski speeders would last no time while the TIEs controlled the air. The communications were silent for a moment as defeat became more imminent. That's when the sound of a Wookiee roaring erupted the Resistance comms. Leia knew exactly what it was as a smile came across her face. Not long after, the Falcon came ripping through the sky, destroying TIEs in the process. The Resistance knew that this was the time to launch the ski speeders, and they wasted no time in doing just that. The speeders launched from a bay high in the mountain from which the base was located, and made way to the AT-M6s. Poe and Finn led the group, but Finn had his worries that the speeders wouldn't be enough against the walkers. Poe simply told Finn that they survived odds far greater than this. As the speeders made a push for the walkers, they were met with heavy cannon fire. One by one, speeders were taken out as the effort began to look bleak. Poe and Finn were the only pilots left by the time they retreated back to base. Soon, the base door was lowered once more as merely a means to prolong the First Order advance. Everyone felt as though they had put up a good fight, but Leia knew that everyone had more in them. She could only think back to her brother. She could feel his presence. It was much closer than it had been in recent memory. Leia turned her attention to one of the entrances deeper in the cave to see Luke Skywalker approaching. His face grew a smile once he saw his sister again. He kneeled down to greet his sister for the first time in years as he told her it was time to leave. He escorted the Resistance through an opening in the cave that led to the Falcon, waiting to get everyone out. As the First Order reached the mine, Kylo Ren, acting as the new Supreme Leader, ordered for a barrage of AT-M6 fire to destroy the blast door. Once an opening had been made, the First Order marched within, only to find an empty mine. Kylo Ren had his personal ship flown down to survey the battlefield. Once he realized that the Resistance had escaped destruction once more, he knew that it was Skywalker's doing, and that he would soon see the day he would kill the entire Resistance. That was part 2 of What If Luke Returned with Rey in The Last Jedi. This series was a short 2-parter. but I will be looking to the next What If very soon. Also, before I close out this video, I want to inform you all that the Marauders Guild podcast is back and streaming on Mixer this Saturday at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The return episode has already been posted on the channel, so check that out if you wish. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Marauders Guild and ring the bell to be notified whenever we upload. Until the next time, may the force of others be with you.